Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Samira and today we're making Avar Khinkal. This is traditional food from Dagestan, where I'm from. And if you're already confused, that's fine. Because when people hear khinkal, they imagine Georgian khinkali with filling like dumplings, but this is not that. It's different country, different vibes, different ideas. Avar Khinkal is very simple food. Meat, broth, dough, and sauce. But simple does not mean easy. If you mess up the broth, everything else is sad. Also, I talk a lot in this video, that's on purpose. I'm practicing my English and I like yapping while cooking. So, if you're into that, let's start. First we'll start with the meat, as this takes a long time of simply waiting. Classic Avar Khinkal is served with boiled meat, and traditionally this is either beef or lamb. Beef is the most common option. They usually use pieces with a bone, brisket, ribs or shoulder. The broth turns out rich in flavor. Lamb is also suitable, especially if it's good quality young lamb. Whichever type of meat you choose, cut it into medium-sized pieces before boiling it in water. For this dish, the meat is not just an addition, but the second main ingredient. After all, the Caucasus is not just a region with beautiful mountains, but a region where it has historically been difficult to survive, and the cuisine there was developed not for Instagram photos, but to prevent people from dying of cold. Meat became central to the cuisine due to the living conditions. It is difficult to grow crops in the mountains, but livestock can be grazed almost everywhere, providing both food, fat, and milk. People worked hard and needed high-calorie food that would provide energy for a long time, and meat was perfectly suited for this. Over time, it also became a symbol of prosperity and respect for guests, because feeding someone meat meant showing care and honor. Let's move on to another culture heritage, the dough. Detailed measurements in metric and US units are as always in the description of this video for your convenience. The dough consists of simple ingredients, approximately 6 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 cups of warm kefir, a little salt and baking soda. Pour the flour into a bowl. Make a well in the center and add a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of baking soda. Mix it a little and then add kefir, warm, not hot. If it burns your finger, then it's too hot. Start mixing with your hand right away, and if you're making this for the first time like me, it's best to add the kefir gradually, but since I've made this often with my mother, I know that I'll need exactly this much kefir. However, even though I've seen the women in my family make Avar Khinkal many times, doing everything completely by myself like this is something new for me, so keep watching to find out how I did it. The dough needs to rest for 30 minutes, covered with a cloth towel or plastic wrap. After cooking the meat for 30 minutes, open the lid and remove the foam that has formed on the surface of the water. The meat is not ready yet, so it will continue to cook but without the lid. Meanwhile, we'll prepare the potatoes. Take as many potatoes as you want to eat. I'm using 6 medium ones. Peel them and depending on their size, cut them into 2 or 4 pieces. I cut mine into 4, just like that. And since it's not yet time for the potatoes, leave them aside and start preparing the sauce. This sauce is very easy, delicious and therefore popular in Dagestan. I've made it 1,000 times and you can call me a tomato master. And yes, it's a tomato sauce. Melt 1 tablespoon of clarified butter in a preheated pan. Add 2 or 3 tablespoons of tomato paste and cook for about 2 minutes. This sauce can be served with any type of khinkal, and there are several types from different cultures of Caucasus, so this won't be the last video about khinkal. When the sauce smells delicious, it's ready. Pour it into a nice bowl and then grate the garlic. I ended up grating 3 cloves, and even that wasn't enough for me, but add it to your taste. Don't forget to add salt. When we prepare the broth, we will definitely add a spoonful of it as well. Speaking of the broth, after about 30 minutes of cooking without a lid, remove the meat from the broth to carefully remove the foam that has formed. In classic broth for Avar Khinkal, almost no spices are added, just salt, black peppercorns and bay leaf. The broth should have a rich, meaty flavor, the spices shouldn't overpower it. This is a very mature philosophy. When the product is good, you don't mask its flavor. Came the potatoes' moment of glory. We add them right after the meat has been returned to the pot. After adding the potatoes, the broth is usually simmered for another 20-25 minutes, provided the meat is almost cooked. If the meat is still not ready after this time, the potatoes are removed and the meat continues to cook alone until done. But we don't spend the waiting time on our phones, instead we prepare the dough. The rested dough is rolled out with hands that are not rested. The dough shouldn't be too thin, the thickness should be about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. In my childhood, rolling out this dough meant the guests were coming. In Dagestan, food just happens. You might intend to cook for yourself, but then suddenly you're feeding 12 people. Okay, let's get back to cooking. After rolling out the dough, use a round pizza cutter to cut the dough into squares or diamonds. And just in time, it's the moment to take the potatoes and meat out of the broth. They cooked very well, look how appetizing they look. The broth turned out so rich and it took on a slightly dark cloudy color from the meat. And of course, we'll still need it. To cook our khinkal in it, we need to add more water so that the pieces of dough sink there and don't just float on the surface. The water is boiling well over a medium-high heat. We add a small amount of khinkal to the broth. The exact amount depends on the size of the pot. I have medium-sized pot, so I added 5-6 pieces. From this moment, set a timer for 4 minutes and keep an eye on the time. Cover the pot with a lid and immediately after the water boils, open the lid and stir them with a slotted spoon as if turning them over. When the time is up, take them out and quickly press them all the way through with a toothpick. They shouldn't be undercooked or overcooked, so this part can be challenging for beginners like me. Cooking khinkal is a tricky business. They can get upset and turn dark. Something went wrong for me, and I can only guess what. The dough recipe itself is correct, but I think it didn't really rise properly because I rolled it out too thinly. And when everything is ready, it's time to serve the hot food to the table. The texture of the khinkal is soft and springy, the taste is neutral, but that's the point, it absorbs the flavors of everything else. The soft crumbly potatoes and juicy meat are my dad's favorite part of this meal. My mom likes the broth, a clean, rich flavor, you can really taste the meat that was cooked in it. Tomato garlic sauce is a bomb and goes perfectly with khinkal. This is such a great opportunity to get the whole family together and try something new. Or you can eat it all yourself. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please support my channel by subscribing and I would appreciate any feedback in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye!
Send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.